Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hanson, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all in this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure and life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. We're here at the Western Hunting Expo in Salt Lake City. I come down here I have been down here every single year. And I am sitting here talking with my friend Brian Anderson, BA. He's the community manager of Prime G5 Prime.
Yep, G5 Prime, now Montana Rifles.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And in this, I've talked to people. I've put this out here. This isn't really a hunting podcast per se, but I know a lot of hunters. And it's about bettering yourself, and it's about being just good to people and making the world a better place. So if we delve off into other areas, that's where we're going to go. But it's interesting that I talked to BA. We met a long time ago in a hotel room.
Yeah, condo or a hotel somewhere on the side of a mountain.
I think it was Big Sky.
Actually. I think it was.
This is an interesting thing about the hunting community, though. And I came to Salt Lake, and then we do the tax. But it's people either I don't know if they're jealous or what their ideas of life are. But I come here, and this is a family gathering. Mm-hmm. This isn't I'm not jealous. Like here at the Western Hunting Expo, we'll just say,
yep.
We see all these big bulls, these big bucks. Oh. I am happy for the people.
Absolutely.
And this is where this goes because I feel like you become family.
Oh, it's more than work colleagues. It's more than just, we bump into each other once in a while. It's became a family. I mean, especially the people who are in Badass's booth right now.
Yeah.
This has been my family for the last 10 or 12 years. We've traveled the country together. We've slept on each other's couches. It's turned into more than just going to work.
And we see each other like early in the morning, late at night, and we have fun. And it's funny because when you talk about family and Badasses being the family, and I don't know if the world will think this is funny, but last year when we went to is it Cine di Pepe's or
something like that? Yeah, one of those family style
Italian
restaurants.
And it was funny because you ordered for a family.
Well, you guys put me in charge, and apparently I thought we had a much larger family than we had enough family to feed Badass's cruise for about the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that was funny.
It was.
But we walked out like we were pregnant.
Oh, it was a wonderful evening for sure.
It was. And we enjoy ourselves. And
we do.
And it's about the smiles and it's about everything. So what has archery done for you?
Oh, it's built my family, my community. So I grew up in an archery shop. My dad was a professional shooter when I was younger, before it was really big deal. Like he actually won Vegas when I was really little. And I grew up in the archery shop, ended up running the archery shop. And that's where I got picked up with G5, is straight out of the archery shop. So, since I was in 8th grade, I've been in an archery shop working. And, since I was a little kid, I've been at the archery shop. I've been on the range. I've traveled the country. It's became my family. It's kind of almost enough for my actual family. It gets a little annoyed with it because everywhere I go, there's somebody I know from the hunting community or the archery community, which they love it because they get to meet so many people in my life. And, it's not just a boring day every day. We always have something. So.
And that's true. It's funny how you go to places like this. I was at a sports show in Rapid City, South Dakota last week just to look around, and it's not like this, but laugh. And I walked over here.
Really?
You know what I mean? I don't know my distinctive laugh, but it's funny. but it's interesting that you say it's family. You know what I mean? And I listened to the Range podcast with you and Ricky, and Ricky's at home right now. But I listened to you, and I heard that your son is starting to hunt. Shoot.
Yep.
And isn't that the coolest thing in the world to watch a young person just start getting into it?
Absolutely. Like I bought my daughter the bow that my son's shooting right now when he was 2nd. I was so excited to get my family into it. A little custom recurve, like way too much money for a 2-year-old, but I had to do it, because it was such a part of me And she didn't really take to it too much, but now that her little brother wants to take to it, they're both been, let's go in the backyard, shoot, Dad, let's learn, so it really reminds me of looking through the window when I was a kid and seeing my dad watch me shoot in the backyard.
Yeah,
it's really special
because it all adds up to the family aspect. Because like you go shoot at TAC, and we're coming off the mountain, and we can give each other heck.
Yep.
And you can help everybody, and you can talk, and like you have your family fans, you have the extended family.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm going with this, to try to say that there's a whole family aspect around here. And there's I'm trying to think of the right word, but we just enjoy outdoors.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
therapeutic
it's kind of
thing.
like the culture we've created around us became, the brands of people we love. Yeah, I think it's definitely that. It's my some of my favorite times of the year is when I get to travel and get to see you guys all year. Like, the winter's cold and dark in Michigan, and it's not the same when I don't get to see my friends.
Yeah. So what adventures have you been on lately?
I've been on a couple. So I drew an Iowa whitetail tag this year and was able to really help out or not get help from a friend out there, and we had a ball. Like, it was one of my trips. I got a friend at home, so I tried to do as much hunting with my community guys that are out here, but I also tried to still hunt with a couple buddies that I've grown up with, and me and him drew the tag together. He kind of talked me into it. I wasn't ready, and he's like, just put in for it and we'll figure it out as it goes. I'm like, and we drew it.
Yeah.
So I called a friend. He's like, yeah, absolutely. My buddy's still out there. We get to go out there. And it kind of got overwhelming because when we got there, it was the same kind of feel, like instantly connection. This guy's like, you have all my farm access. Go have fun, whatever you guys want to do. Shoot a small buck, shoot a big buck. But yeah, we got to see some of the biggest deer of my life. So I didn't end up pulling the trigger. I'm not a picky hunter. I'm not a big trophy hunter at all. I just like to hunt. And it kind of got in my blood to be a little trophy hunter on that one. We had monsters every day. Just every day you wanted to wake up. I mean, we were out there for 10 days. We never missed a set. Every morning, every day, every evening, we were out there. I mean, it was just that much different lifestyle than I'm used to growing up in Michigan. We have great whitetail hunting, but you don't expect to see big bucks ever. If you do, it's kind of a surprise. And it was just like every day, like, what's going to be there tomorrow? What's going to be there tomorrow? If I didn't pull a trigger, it was not a big deal to me. I was already satisfied being out there with my best friend and growing my, my hunting community family.
And it's funny. I don't know if I've said this before, but it's interesting because it's funny when you're young. Hunting is like, to be successful, you kill. Then you grow, you get a little of things under your belt, and then it's like, I'm trying to shoot this big deer.
Yep.
And then as you grow older, I'm still trying to shoot a mature animal, but it's about the experience that happens, And
that's what my hunting has turned into, is making sure it's not just about me, it's who I go with and where we go. We went to Texas last spring. I got a buddy that has a free range access spot that I'm addicted to, which I can't go this year. My wife decided to book a cruise right there. So love my family, but hunting's always a big one. I got to take a couple buddies with me and his dad. And I never touched, because you can shoot whatever you want, guns, bows. I mean, you're having fun, go have fun, right? Normally I'm like, all right, break out the gun, I'm going to kill something, right? And I put the bow in my hand, and I made sure those three guys got the experience of their life. 3 of them shot. They all had a ball. They all had amazing time. We got to spot and stalk. We got to we got to sit in blinds. We got to do the whole experience. And I walked away, I think, just as happy if I would have shot one or not, just because I got to have my friends experience the same thing I get to experience every year. And I mean, I don't know if you've been axis hunting. It is.
No, you were supposed to take me this year.
Yeah, I can't. Well, we got a spot for that. I can't go this year. I can't go this year. So trust me, I'm coming too. But yeah, we're gonna plan that one for next year then. But it's just such a wild time. Like, it's deer hunting in the spring and the summer is not a thing. We're so used to getting all through summer, fall's come, and we get pumped. I mean, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna chase a turkey this week. I'm gonna chase a whitetail next week, or chase an axis next week. It's a different experience. It's a lot of fun. So
no, that's quite interesting that you like the experience that you get to experience with your friends. Because this year, like, my dad is 80 years old.
Okay.
And he has 2 replaced knees. And actually, he's living the don't die rusty mantra, because he
Love
gets
it.
up every morning and walks 3 miles, 4 miles on Sunday. He comes and it's just interesting. But we drew a rifle mule deer tag in South Dakota, a hard one to draw, and he we were glassing this decent muley, and I said, "Hey, I mean, is that big enough for you? And can you go to it? Because it was rough country and about a mile and a half out." He said yes, and he missed. But when we got down there, he said, "You don't have your rifle, you don't have your spotting, you have nothing. You left everything there." I said, "That's right, because it's
your hunt.
It's your hunt, because I'm experiencing it with him, so it's my hunt too."
Yeah.
And he ended up getting one actually a couple hours later. But it was just one of those deals. Is people need to start. I probably overdo this, but they need to start fulfilling their lives instead of just feeling it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, I've said this before, and I'll probably keep on saying it on this podcast, but like, to me, filling your life is like a glass of water, and you can fill that glass of water up, and then you can leave it or you can drink it.
Yep.
And drinking it is fulfilling your life, because you're getting some nourishment out of that.
Oh,
where, I can put all kinds of stuff in there, and then it could be dumped down the drain too.
And I was that way when I was young. It was always about having things. And like when you get in the archery industry, everybody wants to be your friend and, deals and all this stuff. And it's like, that's great. And I appreciate all that. And that's, I think, a great thing about this community is we all want to take care of each other. But now it's not about the things. It's the trips. It's the adventures. It's spending the time with the friends, the family. Trying to experience something totally new. And that's what really makes the next day, brighter.
Isn't it? And like every day that sunrise is different. Every
day.
And I just hope that people listen to this and understand it's about the experience of life. It's enjoying every day, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Never.
And living that fulfilled life. And I just it's one of those things I feel deeply strongly about, and I don't know if it's I don't know what this is. I'm not a preacher or anything, but I just want to make the world a better place every day. So yeah.
Nope, absolutely. Like that brought you kind of my dad. So I lost my dad a year and a half ago now. And one thing I've learned, and I'm still learning, I got a text the other day from one of the guys he worked with, how much he touched people's lives. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
No.
I didn't know. Like I knew, but I didn't know. And I'm hearing all these stories, and it's like, I want to be that person too.
In a previous one, we talk about legacy. Okay. And I have no kids.
Okay.
But I have friends, I have friends that have kids. And in what you just said, you didn't realize that your dad touched people, but that is his legacy.
It was.
You know what? And it's awesome to. How does that make you feel inside? Like, my dad touched somebody. I hope I can do as much as he did.
Yeah, no, like I knew he was in the hunting community. He was a cop. Like he always had friends, but like their kids would tell me a story like, "Hey, he reached out when I was having a tough time," or it really hit me hard because he was such a great guy. To learn he was even better.
I lost my mom about the same time you lost your dad, so I mean, I understand the emotional. It's just the most amazing thing to have people DM you or talk to you and say, it makes you proud that you were their child.
Yep, absolutely.
And then it makes you proud to say, now what can I do?
Yep. How can I live up to that?
Exactly, because they left a high standard.
Exactly.
And I just hope that we can start seeing this in the world, actually, and then what you can do with your kids. But I mean, I'm saying more people need to realize what legacy they're leaving, not the I'm going to go be an ass or whatever kind of thing, but what are they going to remember you by?
No, for sure. My daughter came home the other day, and you could just tell she had a tough day, and she's only 8, so how much tough can it be? But we live life. We spend our money in ventures and do what we can so we don't live lavish. And she kind of got picked on in school about it. And I'm like, trust me, you get older, you're gonna realize what's important. So.
Exactly. And that's that's the other thing is, like, I wish they could see, like, because I say I've had friends, some of them probably, but I have friends that you know, you have this negativity that I just can't be around.
Oh God,
And to have those friends that your daughter needs to see is
exactly.
they're going to be friends around you that are going to be there when you're laying on, you know, if you got knocked down, they're going to pick you up,
Yep,
dust you off, and say, where are we going to go?
exactly. Not the one that's all worried about material gear or what you look like, or yeah.
Because it is about, I I live to make memories and I
Mhm.
live to have adventures, and I'm never going to be a rich person unless I win lottery. But because I believe the memories that's the only thing you're taking with you to the grave.
Exactly.
And you, if you start thinking about that, like I have my memories. You have your memories of your dad. You have your
Mhm.
like I have of my mom, but and your kids will have certain memories. Do
Oh,
we
for
want to make those good memories, or do we want to say, "Oh, that was a dumb time"?
exactly. Exactly.
So that because I I I know you've been to Europe with your wife. Was that what was that?
Yeah, so a couple of years, I'm trying to think how long ago it was, but I just Willow was about 5, 6 years ago. Me, my mom, my dad, and my wife went to Hungary. My dad's almost full-blown Hungarian and Irish, and he's always wanted to go over there. And we decided on a whim, like, let's just do it, Dad. Let's go over there, experience what you've always wanted to. My wife's already spent a bunch of time in Europe. She spent a couple semesters in Italy in college. So she's kind of experienced, and she was like, oh yeah, I want to go back. And if this is the way to go back, and it was incredible. I mean, it got to see the light of my face, like my dad eating the food and seeing the culture, like something he's wanted to do his whole life. And it was awesome. I mean, it was. I'm not a big city person, so to be exploring through the cities, like me, I'm ready to be in the mountains or
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
tree stand or in the woods. It was a totally different experience, but I'd never get. I mean, never go back. I mean, never give that up. I mean, it was so much fun, and to see the culture and to realize, like, we were walking in a park in Budapest is really cool. You walk down a neighborhood, you walk down these, like, I don't want to say alleys, but streets, and all of a sudden the street would just shut off, and everybody would have their restaurants and their bars would be out into the street. Like, you wouldn't even have to go inside them. So like every day was a good time. But we were walking through one, and we got to a park, and like like you walked in and there was like glass in the middle of the park on the ground. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. And you walked in there and it was like 14th century Roman castle underneath there, like they
really.
were building a park and found ancient ruins underneath there. It's something you would never find in the United States. So like, so they were like, well, we're still going to build a park. The community needs this, so they just
Yeah,
built this into it, so you can go into the park and see, you know,
yeah.
hundreds of years of history right underneath while you're playing with your kids. So it was
Y-
just such a cool place to be.
Yeah, well, that even Denver will say if I go to Denver or even Salt Lake, but more Denver, because when you start coming up the interstate and getting to
Oh.
Cheyenne, because it goes to clear to Fort Collin. But to me, the best part of going to Denver is getting north of Cheyenne because there's
Oh,
nothing there.
yeah, no, it's my wife's been a city girl. She, went to college in a big city, just loves going to the city, but she's a country girl at heart. But as soon as we get near a city, I'm throwing her the keys and getting in the passenger seat because I'm just not dealing with it. So
But it, but what and but isn't it fun? What we talk about that, but isn't it funny though when you go to the, like you're in Europe or
Mhm.
wherever, in Hungary, and you take yourself out of your comfortable zone, and
Exactly.
then you can just let yourself go and explore. Like,
Yep.
what happened here?
Oh,
Uh, like what medieval people walked on where we were, or,
exactly.
it's you can start throwing your imagination into a lot of places when
Oh
you
yeah.
go with those places. I mean, I've never been to Europe. I lived in Australia. Been in other places, but I've never been to Europe, and I always wanted to go.
Oh, it's beautiful. We're gonna go back for sure. So my wife wants to go back, and after that trip, I'll wherever she wants to go. And I got, hate to throw back into hunting, but I got some friends over there that in the hunting community that if I don't hunt or do, I would still want to go meet.
Oh
And
yeah,
that it's funny. I've little old man from Goodrich, Michigan. It's a tiny little couple thousand people town. I get friends all over the world from this, from being here. From one of my really two good friends in Argentina to some guys in Spain. I mean, guys all over the world that we've just became friends and talk constantly, talk all the time. It's been a really good ride. I mean, open yourself up and make sure you're just leave your heart open. Like you said earlier, if they're not the right people, don't let them in. But if they're not, I want to explore. I want my friends to be everywhere.
exactly. I mean, it's amazing when you find those friends that you can, I would say, be vulnerable with,
Yeah, yeah.
and 3 a.m. in the morning friend too. You know what I mean? You know, or whatever. You know, you can count on them in the tough times, and then they have them all over the world.
Right.
I mean, I walk into an airport and Cindy, sometimes how do you know that person there?
Exactly.
Right timing, I guess. We're in the right place at the right time.
Nope, that's exactly it. My wife's always that way, no matter where we're at, and or like to something like this story's always kind of hit home with me. I worked with a guy named Bob Watterson. Him and his wife are older couple, amazing people. Bob's still around. I think Bob's in his 90s now, and just fabulous person. And I started working at G5, so he worked with me at the archery shop. It was kind of funny because people would come in and be like, "You're too young to work." Because I was 13, 14, 15 years old when I started working in the shop. "Oh, you're too young. Can I get somebody older?" I'd always give Bob to him, 70, 80 years old. And this old cranky bastard. He's like, "Brian, how do I do this?" I'm like, "You want me to work on your bow now?" So, but so I started working for G5, and G5 is a family company. That was one of the major reasons. Lou is the owner, the sons. And Lou went to Hawaii, and he comes back and he was telling me the story. He goes, "I'm sitting at, what's the monument there from when Japan bombed us?"
Oh,
He's sitting there and has his G5 hat on, and another old gentleman walks up next to him and kind of puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "I like your hat." And he started explaining to him, and he goes, "Yeah, no, I know. My friend works for that company." And it ended up being Bob Watterson and the owner of my company. So these two older gentlemen out of nowhere, just because of G5 on a hat, two people that were really close to me got to meet halfway across the world, and just got to tell old stories about little O'Brien. At that point I was probably like 25 or 26 years old, so I had stories from him, and then a couple stories from working with Lou for the last couple of years. It's kind of neat, like you said, even if it's not me bringing other people together. It was kind of neat to see.
But it's cool to hear that you brought these two people together
just from a logo. He's like, "Oh, he was so proud of me when I left Browns, just like you did so well, so." But yeah, no, we got to celebrate Bob's 70th, 80th. I'm trying to think if it was his 90th at our archery league. So like we hit those monuments at our Thursday night archery league. It was cool.
That is amazing to me.
And he's one of those guys that don't die rusty. Like, I trust me, that guy till the day he falls over, he's gonna go. He's gonna go. Like I said, they went on a Michigan elk hunt at, I think Dorothy was 80 in her 80s, and Bob was just in his young 70s, and she pulled an elk tag, and they went out and freaking elk hunted together and killed a Michigan elk. Like, to me, it was like, always growing up, I'm like, that's who I want to be. Like, don't ever stop going.
Yeah, never stop going. Because it's interesting, because I helped a guy that drew the hunting habitat tank in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And he was from Florida. He was 83 at the time. I didn't really realize what I was getting into at the time. He talked to me because we had some mutual friends. So he said, "Can you take me and help me out?" And I said, "Yeah." And we were out there, and I didn't realize he was 83 turning 84. It wasn't like he just turned 83. But you want to know something funny is, with the hunt habitat tag, you can go anywhere with that rifle bow. That's your, and he wasn't going to shoot anything with a rifle.
Really?
And he never, and then he wasn't going to shoot anything but a 6-point. And I had some bulls, the mobility sometimes is at that age, but we had bulls. I had 5-point bulls come into him, and he did not shoot. 20 yards broadside. But the most interesting part about that whole thing is, I had a great time, but the stories that were told. And he happened to actually be the CFO of the Chicago Tribune and this and that at one time.
Oh, wow. So he had some stories.
And the Ford versus Ferrari movie was out, and he said, "You need to go see that movie." And then he started telling me about being in Enzo Ferrari's over in Europe, and it was just a shop and stuff. And it was like, this is cool. I'm learning more about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. It's all about archery. Some people don't understand that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just, you feel good about learning from the older generation.
Absolutely.
And it was just amazing. I said, "You can come back. We shoot one with a rifle." He said, "No, if I didn't go with a bow, I'm not going to shoot." My story really was that it's fun to learn from that older generation too.
Yeah, there's I'm just hoping my kids turn out to be decent humans. But
Well,
you
you're
see,
their dad. They
I
will.
appreciate that. But you just see younger people, just not have that respect as much as they do for older generations and things like that. And I grew up, that I was always taught, and if you just slow down and listen to some of those stories, and it's worth every second of it. So I hope the younger generation realizes that, it's not just because they're old, it's because they've been through adventures, they've been through diversity, they've been ups and downs. I mean, what are the stories that are going to come out of the last 4 years of COVID when we get older? Like, people aren't going to believe that was the world for a couple of years,
No.
So to slow down and listen, I think is going to be a big importance for everybody out there right now.
Yeah, and I think that probably was maybe somewhat of a reset of what life should be about.
Yeah.
After COVID and stuff, because I think people started realizing the adventure part, we need to look within ourselves. Maybe some of that was already with me. I attributed it a little earlier,
a little bit that.
So. But it's one of those deals. Like, holy smokes, we need to reset and reevaluate ourselves.
Oh yeah, no, that was the first time I hadn't have it, and not that I didn't have a job, but Matt, when it happened, our governor came in and said we're shutting everything down. Yeah, we did some medical tools, but man, I was like, I don't know how to do this. We're just going to lay everybody off. That was the first time I've been laid off since I was 13, 14 years old. Like, yeah. I've always had a job, maybe 2 or 3 of them. And to kind of slow down, but still be able to have my kids there and experience, like you said, go do stuff. Like, we weren't just going to be cooped up in a house. I mean, that's what the governor wanted us to do, but we were going camping, we were running around, we were, going for hikes, we were doing anything we possibly could, go for a turkey hunt. Like, I mean, it wasn't slowing us down that we had to do it, but it did bring us all together.
It did, yeah. And it was amazing, the whole difference in America. Now, I mean, you see some people, but you realize what freedom was too. Mm-hmm. Like, you lost freedom at that time. Is that what I'm saying is we kind of lost freedom of associating with each other, but we found freedom in the woods and other places where we could go.
Your family and your small community that you could be with, So yeah, absolutely. We've seen it in our numbers and things like that. I mean, coming out of COVID, the archery industry exploded. Everybody wanted to be outside. Everybody wanted to, go hunting. Everybody wanted to, just get away. And it was awesome to see that. I mean, it was one of the biggest boosts in the archery community, probably a hunting community in general. But to me, it was bringing people back to the roots, and getting people outside. And that was more exciting than knowing that numbers and sales were happening. It was just knowing people were kind of, becoming human again.
And that's the best part about this whole thing, is people becoming human again, and maybe having a little more empathy for people.
Yes.
Yes.
I think there was some of that. There was definitely some guys that took it the other direction, but I think more guys were worried and just concerned about their brothers, their family, and just people in general, to make sure everybody was healthy and happy.
Yeah. And I just have to say, the wild is where I feel blessed and more happy anyway. So maybe I'm a little, I don't know what I am in the aspect that then there was more people out there and it's harder to get away, but I'm glad to see
that was part of it. Definitely part of it. Some tags that were easy to get did not come so easy, but to me, it like I said, anytime we can build this community that we're in right now, we got to take the blessings with the curses, so.
In like you said, I mean, you go to a TAC event or you go wherever, and archery is a quiet sport where you can talk and give each other heck, but maybe if people would look, I don't know, it's amazing to me with the people that I shoot with, but I mean, there's other people out there too, but we get new people that sometimes that come and shoot with us, and everybody's helpful.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter who or where you are. It's funny because it's not just brand oriented, because we'll just say, I mean, I shoot prime.
Yeah.
But if somebody's shooting a Hoyt and they're having a problem,
we're going to help them.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we'll help you. And if we'll say, if you miss a target, we'll go look for your arrow. If you hit the target or something's broke on the bow, that's where I was going to go with that too. But that's a good fun part about the whole thing, is the razzing. But it's also that it's just a community that helps each other.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you been on a tack course at this point? Probably 100.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing this for what, 12 years. And how many times have you started a course and ended the course with different people?
I know.
Just all of a sudden your group merges with this
Yeah.
group and you're just, it's like we've been friends all along, and it's such a community that it's all about that. I mean, people think the hunting industry is this huge, crazy thing, and it is pretty big, but internally it's a pretty small. And the guys, just coming together to enjoy what we enjoy, it's a blessing.
Yes, and I you're right there, because you're coming down the mountain and there's like one or two shooters that are you're having to wait for them, or they're behind you and they're waiting for you, and you want to shoot with us, and you can come along, but you better be able to have. My prerequisite is you got to have a good time.
Oh, for sure.
Because Bert Soren and Brandon Lilly.
Oh yeah.
So me and Ashley and Jesse roll up and like late going to at Big Sky. We roll up late. We know we help at Terry Peak, so we get to go early.
Yeah.
And we roll up, and Brandon and Bert and couple other guys were there, and they don't know. It was like they didn't really know. And Frank rolls up, and we know what we're doing, And I said, you can shoot with us, but the one rule is you got to have a good time. And by the time we got down to the down to the bottom of that mountain, we were all friends.
That's awesome.
And they see the different parts of things, because like at Big Sky, at that before now it's earlier, and it was later in that July, the wild strawberries were out, and you sometimes you saw bears, but Brandon one time said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm eating the strawberries," and they are. And then we started eating strawberries, but you just became friends.
Yeah,
and that's what the community, actually the hunting community, needs to start doing.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want to knock you because you're shooting 1,000 yards with a rifle, and I'm shooting 20 yards with my bow, or I might be shooting 60 yards with my bow. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And I see I see bow hunters harassing bow hunters safe at a tack event because those aren't ethical shots. Well, my problem with the ethical shot at Big Sky is foam doesn't bleed.
Exactly.
But you can have fun, because you know what? If you miss it or I miss it, we'll razz each other. But if we hit it, we'll cheer each other on too.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, those longer shots, those things only make you a better archer in your comfort zone. We're not out there proving that we can do it. We're out there honing our skills for the fall. And then we get to the fall. Most of those shots are not nearly a tenth of those distances.
No.
We try to stalk harder. We try to, be quieter, So yeah, I do see that. And, I see less of it now. Cause the first couple of years attack, these guys would show up and be like, wow, I wasn't prepared for this. And this is crazy. This is not what bow hunting's about. And it's like, yes and no, and then the next year they're all upset the first year, but then they come and bring 3 buddies the next year.
Exactly.
And then one of those buddies, I wasn't prepared for them, but he brings 3 buddies the next year, it's just, yes, you get frustrated. Oh, that's not the right way to do it. The next thing you know, they're doing the same thing and having a ball doing it, and learning it's not about, we're not out here trying to shoot 100 yards. We're just out here to have a good time. And it's one of the biggest community driven things, I think, in the outdoor industry. I've been to shoots all over the world, all over the country, on the target side, which I think is a great community also, but it's not like it is when you go to Attack or Mountain Fest or any of the, these really hunting driven community shoots. People are there just to enjoy themselves, learn, have new people. It's really turned into something special. Sean has done an amazing job changing the archery industry, changing the hunting world.
And he has. And it's interesting to me because, I know we keep on talking about TAC, but Prime is a big sponsor of it, and Badass.
Badass.
Where
Prime.
Did I stay last night? But with Kelly and Russ tonight, we're in the hotel.
That's where I met you. We met on the mountain. It's been more than just TAC now, but that's where we met.
But people, they're always going to be out there on social media or whatever knocking things. But the thing is, though, I know people that don't want to hunt. But they want to shoot a bow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is one thing, and they don't want to be in competition shooting the bow.
Exactly.
They just want to shoot the bow for fun. And some people don't realize that people just like to shoot their bow for fun.
Exactly.
But when we were talking about getting ready for a hunt, when I had my mountain goat tag in Utah, that is one of those things that if tack helped me
Oh,
hone
absolutely.
those skills of shooting at angles and elevation, I would think I was at 12.7, 12.8 when I shot my mountain goat. But
Yeah.
it's interesting in that people, we just need to understand that there's different, everybody has a different idea about things.
Oh,
Me
absolutely.
and you have different ideas, but we still come together
Yeah.
and, you know, and
We're not going to agree on everything, but at the end of the day, we still respect each other. And I
yeah.
think that's, the one of the biggest things I think a lot of people need to learn is, you're not going to agree every day. I mean, especially look at politics over the last, we're not getting in that bucket, but
No,
over the last 10 years, politics have been insane. And, you don't have to agree with everybody. You just got to understand we're all here for a better place. We want to, want the world to keep turning. And, it's tough to make, some people are just tough to make think that way,
I know.
and, those people, I'm not going to change them. It's not going to bother me. I'm going to continue with a smile on my face and keep doing what I'm doing. And, you know,
And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing too, you
exactly.
know. And but is there? Here's one last tack thing, and then I got another question.
Yep.
But is there anything more fun? Because here's the deal: you're in the booth. Usually, you're in the
Mm-hmm.
prime booth, and I'm when I had to shoot. But is there anything more beautiful than getting up in that early morning?
Oh,
I mean, I don't drink coffee, but you guys having a cup of coffee, looking up in the mountains, that cold fresh air, and this is going to be a good day.
exactly. I mean, it's not just tack, but just in general, those cold mornings get, but yeah, like we're the very first people on the mountain. We're opening the booths. We're checking it out. We're seeing the people roll in. I'm not a coffee guy either. So I'm over there shivering while everybody's
Yeah,
drinking warm coffee. But yeah, watching the dew come off the mountains or even sneaking up early, Sean lets some of us kind of
yeah,
sneak up on the mountain early,
yeah,
try to shoot before.
yeah.
And there's nothing better than getting out there on those crisp mornings and just
This
enjoying the day, knowing the day is going to be amazing, knowing you're going to see a bunch of your friends, have a bunch of new friends that day, meet a bunch of people, shoot, help people. I'm going to bring this up because this is a story from TAC from way back, and then we can
good.
switch it. But TAC in PA, the very first year, it was TAC, Bat Prime, and Badass. Only 3 booths.
Really?
That was it. It rained for 3 days straight. It was freaking miserable, but we had a ball. So we got there one morning. We got there. It was early in the morning, and 2 couples showed up, and these guys, first time attack. I mean, first time in PA. They were grumpy because nobody had batteries for the rangefinder. I don't know if you've been to PA TAC. There's nowhere near. Like you're gonna have to drive 30 or 40 miles to go get batteries for your rangefinder.
Really?
And they weren't expecting the shoot to be as what it is. We're like, you better have a rangefinder, right? And but so they left the girls there, and then they went to take off to get batteries for the rangefinder. And these girls were just kind of standing in the rain. There's not a lot to do at that PA thing, especially early in the morning. And we're like, we had bows back then. We kind of teamed up with Sean. We brought a bunch of these, I'm trying to think, they were radicals at the time. And you could go borrow a bow and go shoot a course or just go shoot the practice course. Well, we had these 2 girls there, and we're like, you guys want to shoot? And they're like, no, no, no. Our husbands, that's their thing. We're like, where are they at? They're going to be gone for over an hour. Like, you can come in the booth, or we can set you up and you guys can shoot and have fun, right? And why not? We're here, and it's these 2 girls, and so we set them up, we get them shooting. And, I mean, the practice course, it's 5. I mean, it was much smaller than what it is now, or, but they're shooting the zombie targets and they're just having a riot. You can see these girls high-fiving, and it just so pumped that they were able to do this, and we were able to kind of teach them and help them. Well, their husbands finally made it back, and they must have been, pissed off because they were gone for an hour, and they were so excited to show their husbands that they were shooting. And those 2 dudes were the biggest jerks I've ever met. And they were like, we came here. This is our thing. This is not your thing. Like, I was ready to go knock them both out. I'm like, just shut your mouth, Brian, leave them be. But like, I was so irritated that somebody would come there and just not want somebody to just have fun, especially somebody you love, So, but that story still gets in my head, and I'm like, I will always help somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't care what the person behind him is thinking. I'm going to be there for that person, And it just was, it still gets me to this day that, like, why would you come back and be upset that they wanted to do this with you? Like, or they just want to do it in general, like anybody ever asks me, I don't care what it is. It's going to interrupt something. I don't care. I'm going to be there for them.
Well, exactly. And that's the way it should be. It's funny that you say that though. Like Ashley, she shoots, she's one of the boys.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Because when she first started shooting tack, I mean, we said, no, you aren't moving ahead. You're shooting with the boys. Yeah. And that's the way she's always been, but she's a go-getter.
She is.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
But I have, and it's interesting. Why wouldn't you want your wives to just enjoy this?
They were having so much fun. I mean, shooting zombies in the face. Like, I don't know, like me and the guy we were working with at the time, Jason, he's worth a different company now, but it was just so much fun to watch somebody for the first time. Like, I grew up doing that because I got to work in the archery shop, and like I've been blessed to be able to help people and get people into archery my whole life. And it was a blessing, and it was cold and it was rainy. It was like, what else were we going to do? Just huddle on a booth or have them go sit in their hotel room? Like, no, let's have some fun. We're here. And yeah, they came back and they were, I don't know, they might've been pissed because they couldn't find a battery or whatever it was. It didn't matter. Like, I would have came back, and if somebody would, like, to me, like getting my wife to do something is tough, but if I can get a friend or like back then my dad to like, hey, talk Lauren into doing this, it's much easier. And then I'd be excited for it because I didn't have to be the one trying to push her.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was, but but to me, it was like at that moment, even before that, I'm like, I don't care who's going to look bad. I'm like, look, if you want to do it, and I'll help you, whatever you got to do.
I love hearing that.
So
I know you got things to do today, so I'm going to, it usually goes on even after I ask the last question.
Not a problem.
Our last question is, what's the good life to you?
What's the good life to me? I've been thinking about this since I watched your video the other day. So been blessed. Archery community, right? And same job, same family for the last 15 years. I feel blessed, right? My wife's kind of bounced around in some jobs, but she's so talented. She's an amazing mom. Getting emotional again. She told me she wasn't happy, not with me, but just life. And I told her, do it. Do whatever makes you happy. And she quit her job, went back to school, and became for an art teacher position. She loves art. She loves kids. I was like, this is what you want to do, I'll support you 100% of the way. So she did it. She worked her ass off. She worked her job and was doing that. And we thought, teachers are a tough position. It's hard to be, especially an art teacher. It's going to be a hard job for her to find, right? The day she got her certificate, she got online in the local areas. The high school, the community that we grew up in, posted a job for an art teacher position for middle school the day she got her certificate.
No,
like, this can't be, because we kind of figured, and I'm not knocking bigger cities or things like that, but we figured she was gonna have to go into Flint or go into Detroit and then kind of build up her resume. They called her the very next day. She had that job by Friday.
That is amazing
to see my wife not be happy, turn it around, do what she wants, do what she loves, been able to bring our kids to that community, and like, so we could both live our dreams.
That's good. That is the most amazing thing. To be happy and to take those chances.
That's it.
I talked, this is about the fourth podcast. Interview that how little things happen. I told you about Fiona being at the right place at the right time. My friend Kelly Lovelace, you'll hear about right place, right time. There's just, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How things happen.
It just lined up so well. And I just she's been so happy, like, and it just makes me happy to see, and then we brought the kids to that community too, so she gets to pick up both kids at the end of the day. My mom lives in that town, so they get to go to my mom's house and ride the bus from my grandma's house. So like, it's just bringing our family so much closer together.
That is awesome. That is amazing. I just love hearing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And it is. And then, like I said, this isn't about me, but you get me thinking about things. You know what I mean? And my dad, when I was, I don't know, I might have been 6 months to a year old. Okay. My dad got caught in a PTO.
Really?
Yeah, and his sweatshirt strings got caught, and he cut himself out and walked back to the house. And you're getting me to think about, maybe I should do a podcast with my dad, just
absolutely.
For the memories. You know what I mean? So those are the things that family and everything. Yeah, I think that was one I'm going to have to do here, but you get me thinking about that, and I appreciate all you do, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. No, it's I really appreciate you bringing me on here, because I knew we were going to talk a little hunting, but we were going to talk more about life and families and friends, and And I love that.
Yes, this is what's going to make the world go round.
Absolutely.
And if we all just start realizing what's around us and who's around us and how we can make the world a better place, and
Amen.
and say good things to people.
Exactly. If you take one step every day, everybody can see the difference.
Instead of cutting the paper, let's start just taping it up, or let's not even worry about knocking anybody down. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So, well, I want to thank you for being here, Brian.
I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I hope to see you later.
Absolutely. We got all weekend to have fun and hang out.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick.
And hope you can come back again.
You got it, buddy.
All right.